everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and today we are going to be going through some market movers, some serious big moves in the markets this week on these stocks that we're about to go over. And we've had a lot of volatility, particularly in the memory stocks. And then we had big tech report earnings this week. So we've had a lot of activity with some of these stocks pushing up higher, some creating topping tails and then coming back and attacking those topping tails, in essence, negating them. So one of which, and we're going to start off with this, is SanDisk. This stock has been out of control, lifting off of the charts, pushing up higher nearly every single week. We haven't had a down week on this stock in quite some time. So let's take a look at these positions. So first up, we have, as you see here, daily on SanDisk. This is the daily time frame with an inclining parallel channel. Just to show you guys where this started, this was back in November of 2025 at this pivot high. That was at the $275 range. And you can see since that point, we are now trading up here over $1,100, a sweet 314% increase in that short amount of time. And you can see we did chop sideways a little bit. We did have some consolidation, maybe 1 or 2 weeks of down movement. But other than that, this screen is flooded with green weekly candles pushing up on the chart. One can argue right here, we've got some consolidation and potentially a bull flag that played out, all right? So in order to find out where these bull flags go, you usually can measure them because it's great. Most of the patterns that I find here with technical analysis that I prefer come with measured move patterns. So you can generalize where the stock is likely going to run out of steam. And you can see that price action with that measured move is at $1,014. We've already blown through that. That just illustrates how much buying power and resiliency is in SanDisk. This is an incredible move, one that is going to be going down in the record books and is currently the biggest gainer in the S&P 500 for 2026. So we see, as we stated, price actions now up at $1,142. SNDK reported earnings yesterday. Look at this mammoth beat, 60% on earnings per share, as well as 26% on revenue. That was to be anticipated, as they have said that they have a memory shortage going on. So we flip back into the daily time frame, and we notice we generated a daily topping tail right here on Wednesday. That was after STX reported earnings and sold off. And the rest of the memory chips also followed suit, selling off too, creating a daily topping tail. Today, we had earnings reaction from yesterday after hours, and price action after hours actually plunged all the way down to $1,000. But we found SanDisk opened up today, as you see here, at $1,059. Briefly went lower and then just continued pushing higher. Now, the high of the day today is up at $1,153. You notice I've got a couple series of trend lines. First, this lower one, we're clearly through at the moment. That value is $1,121. The secondary trend line is connected over through pivot tops, better seen on the hourly time frame. And let me turn off the extended trading hours so you can see it. And that second hourly trend line is connected from pivot high here, connected over to the pivot high on April 27th. And if you notice, that actually tags this first candle out the day today at 9:30 in the morning. And then yet we're not up to it at this point. If we're going to close up in this range today, it's going to be $1,164. Now, what I'm more interested in is the top range of this parallel channel. Every time so far we've hit it with the 2 previous occasions, we've actually had some decent pullbacks and or consolidations that you see on the chart. We're approaching that right now with an overbought status on the daily RSI. That tells me we could have a little bit more of a push, but then we're likely to see even more profit taking once and if price can get up to the top of this parallel on Monday. You're talking about $1,217.34. And this is an inclining parallel. So by the time we get to Friday, that value is at $1,250. All right. So just be mindful on that with SanDisk. Next up, we've got STX, again, in the memory line, folks. STX, as I highlighted earlier, reported earnings here on Tuesday after the bell. And you could see here price action was selling off into it, gapped up higher, created a daily topping tail that has now been negated. And actually, it was in spirit of slightly higher percent-wise where the opening portion of this candle is. But needless to say, regarding the move up, we certainly gapped higher, but it was a sell the market day all day here on Wednesday for STX, closing down near the lower range of that candle. If you notice, it actually did 2 close underneath this inclining trend line, but then the following 2 trading days got bounces right off of that area and have proceeded to go up to the high range of this inclining parallel channel. Now, the inclining parallel channel high range is at $730, but now next week, I'm interested in this inclining yellow trend line just above $750 on Monday. And if I scroll back out to see where these are, you can easily see this higher range trend line comes from a pivot back in December 11th of 2025, connected over to the pivot's highs in January. And that's where we generate that near-term potential price resistance area. But you notice a couple things here on the chart of STX. We've got this lower range parallel in which when price broke out, it came back, retested the top of that parallel after a confirmed move above it. And look at the explosion bounce that occurred here on the chart. I do have a forewarning for you guys. Generally, with an inclining parallel channel, a break up higher and a retest, those generally can fail because to extend the move up on an inclining parallel channel usually puts the stock in overbought near-term territory. So it's even harder for that springboard bounce to occur on those sort of breaks. And I go through those in detail almost daily on Trading the Close. It's one of my favorite plays to capture. But generally, you got to be looking for a declining trend line or a declining parallel for price to have that breakout, retrace, bounce action, because the probabilities are higher that they're going to play out. This one is smaller probabilities of playing out, but this illustrates the buying power and interest in these memory stocks, staying resilient, buying, catapulting price up from this top of the parallel at 557, and now we find ourselves over $700. So again, next week, watching the $750 level to see if we get a nice rejection there for STX. Next up, we've got WDC. Now, I've got the weekly time frame outline for you on this chart to illustrate also what I did on SanDisk. A nice move up here. Look at all of that consolidation that occurred that basically from the beginning of February this year through March, and then we proceeded to move higher. Well, that bull flag has a measured move target of $418.28. So we've already tagged that level with WDC, and we yet are still pushing higher. Flip over to the daily time frame, though, and what do we have lurking? A daily topping tail right here from Wednesday that has yet to be negated, like what's going on over on SanDisk. So that tells me, too, on WDC, this still is a serious level of contention. Right here in the $441 range, the top of that topping tail will and is the line in the sand for continued upward momentum. Now, we've already retraced the top of this parallel, got a great bounce. The top of that parallel will be the near-term support right at $391.34. Next up, we've got Apple. Apple reported earnings yesterday after the market closed. You can see here they beat on earnings per share by 3.3%, as well as revenue by 1.58%. And price action is on the, let me flip to the daily so you can see this. Price action has cleanly broken out of this declining trend line. You can see here yesterday we closed above this declining trend line, but then today confirmed that sort of break. That now makes this area on this trend line support, which is $269.51. Now, if you're a little bit more aggressive, you could start purchasing or getting into Apple from this breakout retrace play amongst this consolidation. In essence, anything beneath $273 can be that green light to start buying for a potential bounce play if price comes back into that trend line. Now, one great thing about this play is that if we have a daily close and a continued push lower the next day, you can simply stop out. That will be a very little risk for a very high yield potential gain, because once and if Apple continues breaking out, we're going to be targeting the top end of this parallel channel, roughly right around $300 for Apple. So going from 260 or 273 up to 300, that will be a great near-term swing trade if that pattern and breakout continues to hold. Lastly, guys, we have Google. Now, Google also did report earnings this week. They did so Wednesday after the market closed. Now, look at this beat, guys. Earnings per share, 90.52%, and revenue, 2.73% beat. Gosh, that earnings per share, that was sick. Incredible beat there. Propelled the stock on Google to break through the top end range of the parallel channel. Now, notice today's price action. This is very, very important to highlight and also focus on. We're not extending away from this break. Matter of fact, we're keeping all of the price action contained within yesterday's candle. So That's what Google needs to do. You want to see, if you're a bull on Google, you want to see price action get above $385.84 and close on the day. That will help it get an extended move away from this parallel, which then will flip the top of the parallel into support. Right now, that's not the case. We still need to see another step for this move to provide the support at the top of the parallel. Right now, the support for Google, even with this huge surge up, is going to be right here at the previous pivot tops, as well as gap fill from prior to reporting earnings on April 29th. That value is right around $349. So until we get a continued push up, confirming the break above the parallel, this is where support lies. Otherwise, if that push occurs, the support lies on top of the parallel at 375.50. Before I let you go, folks, I got to show you this on the daily chart of the S&P 500, which is a SPY. We do have what's forming to be a daily topping tail. We've got 48 minutes left in the trading day. We'll see if that comes out to be a daily topping tail, but that would be significant considering this is up on top of the chart, overbought near term. A daily topping tail should signal further selling pressure in the near term. If that comes out to be the case, this inclining trend line will be the first level of support. That area is going to be at 709.47. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's market mover videos. We've got a lot of these great videos with fantastic levels of support and resistance delivered to you daily. So please go check those out. Happy to have you guys here. And until the next video, guys, I'll be seeing you on the charts. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.